So I think I was having some thoughts about like creating and stuff, and yeah, it's so interesting how like I have before recording I was already having like, you know, this like dialogue in my head about, you know, things that I would like to say, and then as soon as I try to, you know, turn it into a video, it goes away essentially. So I'm trying to get that back. Basically, I think I was like trying to figure out a way to talk about like motivation or lack of motivation, or like creating. Oh yeah. Okay, so there's like this thought process that I have when it comes to creating things or just essentially just like making stuff, whether that's like, you know, design, whether that's, you know, doing some sort of a hobby, like making some sort of like craft thing, like handmade, you know, goods, or like basically for me, I would make T-shirts and hoodies and make designs and heat press them at home, and because I have a couple of streetwear brands that I'm running, or that I, you know, dabble in on and off, and I would make designs for them, and then I would get some transfers made and press them at home, and then I would sell them in like small batches, and that was kind of like my brand and the way that I would run it. And so I have these like moments of like motivation, or like, you know, this like desire to create things, and it would like last for like a few months, and then it kind of just like goes away. And then I think it also, the thought of like running a business becomes overwhelming, and then having to do all of the back end work becomes, you know, very tedious, and it kind of drains you, and then it becomes less about the design and more about, you know, running a business, and which I'm not that great at. And so that kind of like essentially kind of like brings me down, and then it causes me to stop designing as much, and then I just kind of fizzle out. And that happens like, you know, very cyclical. Like I get motivated, then I start up again, put out a couple of launches, a couple of T-shirts, hoodies, stickers, hats, and then I'll get into the weeds about like marketing and trying to like run campaigns and figure out like what's the best strategy for social, running paid ads, trying to set up like an email list, which I can do, but it's not fun. It's not something that I would like to do, and so then that kind of, you know, again gets in the way of designing, and then you end up spending more time on all the back end stuff, like, you know, uploading products onto Shopify, and setting like inputting all the information and all the codes and all the, you know, if you have sizes, colors, and then not to mention the photos. The photos can definitely be a part of the fun side, but I think it can be very tedious once you start to get into the, you know, all the ins and outs of like uploading products and whatnot. You know, luckily I was never really doing that many pieces at a time anyway, so it wasn't that huge. But I think, you know, as a one-person team, it is very daunting sometimes, and then when it's finally, you know, the day of the launch, you release stuff, you don't really see that much traction, and then it becomes very like underwhelming, and it kind of takes the steam out of things, and so anyway, that's kind of like my reoccurring dilemma that I face, where it's like I have motivation to design stuff, but then, you know, do I want to keep running it as a business? And so I try to tell myself, you know, try to find something that I can just do just for fun, and not see it as a business, or not try to make money off of it. And I think that's an aspect where making YouTube videos can come in, because, yes, you can potentially make money off of it, but for the most part, it's not, the barrier of entry is a lot lower. Whereas with clothing, I have to like buy samples and like buy the prints and then produce the samples and then take photos of it. And there's just a lot of moving parts before you even get to the payoff. Whereas with YouTube, I think it's, although money can definitely be the payoff in the long run, I think getting the engagement, seeing the traction on your videos go up, seeing people viewing and commenting and interacting, I think that can be seen as a big payoff as well. And that's a lot more immediate than releasing a shirt and waiting for someone to buy it. Not to mention you have to ship it and make sure everything's good with it. So I think that's another reason for trying this out as a secondary means of creation, or like a hobby, or something that I can just do without putting too much effort in, or just a different type of effort, I think. And all that to say that kind of stems from this like notion of, are you a producer or a creator, or are you a consumer? And I think for me, I get trapped into the consumer mindset. And by consumer, I mean like someone that just views content, just constantly consuming content and not making my own. And same thing for like clothing side of things too. It's like I am like constantly like, looking into other brands and all the stuff that they're doing, and admiring the work that they do, and engaging in their posts, and like sometimes I'll buy a shirt or something here and there, but then I'm not taking the time to do my own thing. I'm not investing in myself to make more designs, more shirts, more stickers, etc. And then when you look at those creators, those producers of those things, whether it's video, clothing, whatever, for the most part, or at least from what I've seen, a lot of them that are good at producing end up not consuming as much, because that eats into your time of what you can create. And I think that's my big thing, is that I've been like sucked into the algorithm, and like just kind of like brainwashed into thinking like this is okay, like just consume and consume and consume, and not dedicate more time to myself. And although it's hard, it's more gratifying in the long run, because you have something to show for it at the end of the day. And then also you're building a community around yourself, or you're just building this like story that you can tell. And also you're getting better at the thing that you're trying to do. Because when I was making clothing, for like longer periods of time, I felt like I was improving, to a certain degree, or like I would try out other things. I would experiment. I would, kind of step out of my comfort zone. And then once you do those things that you normally wouldn't do, or you haven't tried yet, and you realize, oh, it's not that hard as I thought it was, that's like very motivating, and it pushes you to do more. And I think the key aspect is you have to keep doing that. You have to keep adding on to those layers, and don't fall back down into that trap. And eventually I want to get back to that point. I think there's a lot of potential, and also I think the big thing too is don't I tell myself this all the time, try not to overthink it, because most brands or most creators, people that produce stuff, they're like learning and trying things out as they go. Like, I don't think a lot of them know exactly what they're doing until they get there. And that's kind of the whole point, is like you just got to try new stuff out, and I try to remind myself that all the time. It's like, you know, just keep doing it essentially, and you will eventually learn new ways to do it, or better ways to do it, or you'll figure out something that sticks versus not. Like I see a lot of clothing brands or like these streetwear brands that I follow that are pretty small in comparison to like big corporations, but they have such a strong following and a strong audience that will, you know, sell out their stuff like in minutes. And they post like, you know, a lot of behind the scenes stuff. Like the owners of the brands are very like transparent about what they're doing to make the brand better. Like I follow like a brand called Vanity the Pink, and they're like a really solid source of inspiration for me, because like they always post like the behind the scenes, or like in the works, or like the improvements of what they're doing to their pieces. And like for example, they like showed the same hoodie that was released a year ago versus this year, and it's the same design, the same color, but they're just slightly improving the cut of the silhouette and like the fit, how it fits on the body. And you know, it's those minor changes to the to something that, you know, you might not even think about, but to them it matters. And like if it lets their customer know that they're trying, or you know, it gives the customer a better experience, it kind of adds more value, and then it shows that, oh, they really care, that they're trying to, you know, make themselves better. You know, it's like they're not just like, here's the hoodie, we're not going to change it for the next like 10 years unless someone calls us out or whatever. No, like they will do it, and they take feedback, you know, if they have it. And I think that's ultimately what I want to aim for myself. And I try to, like, you know, always look into other like blank suppliers, or even packaging. Like I had a whole thing about packaging at one point, but I think before taking all those steps, though, you have to just do the thing. Like, yes, you can look for those moments of improvement and try to be more intentional about the things that you're picking, but that shouldn't stop the process, essentially. That should, you know, it can be present, but don't let it overwhelm you, essentially. And yeah, it's like I'm saying all these things as if I'm saying it to someone, but in reality, I'm saying it to myself, because it's something that I definitely need to hear more often. So yeah, all to say that, like, my main thing, like, moving forward, is that I'm trying to create more. I'm trying to consume less. I'm trying to produce more. And I don't want to be like, you know, I hate to say, like, at this point it sounds very cliche, but like, I don't want to be an NPC, essentially, you know. Like, I don't want to just like live my life day after day doing the same thing, and not having anything to show for it. Like, I'm very much like someone that wants to create things at heart. Like, that's just kind of like within me. Like, whatever that thing is, you know, it's not necessarily set in stone. It could be clothing one day, it could be YouTube videos the next day. You know, during the pandemic, I was making rugs in our garage. And so it's like, whatever that thing is, you know, just keep doing it. Keep trying to get better at it. And if you don't like it, that's fine too. Like, I think that's something that I try to remind myself as well. It's like, if I'm not liking something, there's no shame in pivoting, right? Like, it's not to say that you quit the thing, but maybe try something else, or try doing it in a different way, you know? Because again, there's no one right way to do one thing, you know? There's a lot of ways. Like, for clothing, I'm mainly doing like printed graphics on t-shirts and hoodies, but I always think about, like, what if I did like custom, like, cut and sew like hoodies from scratch? Like, reach out to a manufacturer, pick out the actual fabric, draw the actual CAD for the body silhouette, and do like fit testing and sample testing, and that's another avenue of clothing that I haven't even tried before. So it's like there are multiple ways to do the same thing, and I think the overall point in this is just be more of a creator and less of a consumer. And by no means am I like one of those like grind set people that's like telling you to stop looking at YouTube or stop looking at Instagram or TikTok or whatever. Like, I think we're all human. I think it's okay to watch videos every now and then, and live your life. Have things that you enjoy. Like I love watching YouTube videos all the time. I'm not going to stop watching them just because I want to create YouTube videos. If anything, I think it gives me more inspiration on like ways to be better at it, and who can I look to for like inspiration to improve, and like maybe someone's trying this out that I haven't thought of. So yeah, I'm not saying like I don't like to live in absolutes. I think it's unnecessary to tell someone, oh, stop, like get off of Instagram, get off of TikTok, like it's sucking your soul or whatever. But like, no, I mean, just everything in moderation. Same thing with creating. It's like, don't try to create nonstop. Don't try to produce things all the time, because then you are going to get burnt out. You will. I truly believe that there is such a thing as like what's the phrase? Too much of a good thing is bad. That's not the phrase. Basically, yeah. It's like trying to create all the time can just be exhausting, and it can take a lot of the fun out of the process. So I think finding a balance on both ends of that spectrum is essentially what I'm trying to do for myself. So this is, my continued attempt at that. So yeah, I just wanted to get those thoughts out, because it's something that I was thinking about like as I was driving, and then I realized, oh, I haven't made a video today. So I need to make, I am setting that goal for myself to make a video at least once a day during my commute to work. So that gives me 2 chances every day. And I've been pretty solid for the past 3 days. So yeah, you'll let me know if I'm missing them. But yeah, I'm going to start uploading these soon, because I'm kind of just like doing a batch for now. And then I'll start uploading. And I think I just need to like release and let go. And if anyone watches this that knows me, that's fine. Whatever. Like, if you want to watch my videos, I don't care. If you want to comment, that's fine. Just, don't be weird about it. Like, I'm doing this for myself, and I'm trying to get better, and I think that's something that I think people have a hard time seeing other people do, like content creation that haven't done it before, because it can come off a bit like cringy or like disingenuous, and like I don't know, something about it. I don't know. People have a hard time like leaning into or encouraging like content creation, because it becomes like it's a very cliche thing now, especially with like all the podcasts and stuff. And I've tried a podcast before, but like it's the go-to sentiment now is like, stop making podcasts, everyone. But I don't necessarily believe that. I think it depends on what the podcast is. I think people have given podcasts such a bad rap because there's a lot of stupid podcasts out there, which is fair. That's a fair assessment. But then there's also a lot of good podcasts, and a lot of the good ones are also new. So, if we stopped making podcasts, we wouldn't have, more variety, or like you wouldn't hear other perspectives, or, it's the same thing for YouTube creators or film or music. If we stop telling people to stop making things just because a certain section of that genre or category is annoying, then, what are you left with? So yeah, I'm an advocate for more creation and more content and more creators, as long as they're doing it right, and also just having a good time with it. Like, I think that's the biggest thing. It's like, just enjoy what you do. Try not to let other people like dictate what you're doing. And that's what I'm trying to do here. It's like, so yeah, if people that I know see this, that's fine. I think as long as it's coming from a place of encouragement, or at least at the very least, like, like feedback, or like from a constructive place, I think that I'm all for that too. But anyway, I don't want to go on a rant. Yeah, that's it for now. I'll see you in the next one.